Hi, and welcome back to Yoga with Tim. Today we're going to begin with a seated meditation. So get a comfortable seat, sit up straight and tall, close your eyes, and draw your awareness inward. Take 3 conscious breaths. Then open your eyes, but keep your focus inward, feeling the breath and the sensation of the breath. Come into child's pose. So with your big toes together, take your knees just wide enough for your ribs to fit in between. Stretch your arms forward and lower your head down. Then stretch back into downward dog. You just have to watch out for your dog while you're stretching back into downward dog. Hey. Then step your feet forward to the front of your mat. With your feet slightly apart, let your head start to drop down. Little bend in your knees, grab a hold of your elbows, let your head drop. Change across your elbows. Then slowly roll yourself up to stand. Join your palms together. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank pose, one leg at a time. Hold in your plank, press down into your hands, lift up in your middle, and as you engage your belly, raise your left leg up. Change legs, raise your right leg up. Change legs, left leg up. Change legs. And then stretch back into downward facing dog. Okay, Holly, move out of the way. Good boy. Then lie down onto your belly. Press the tops of your feet down, stretch your arms back behind you. Now roll your shoulder heads away from the floor, start to activate your back muscles. At the same time, roll your outer thighs down towards the floor, reach back through your toes, firm the buttocks towards your heels and scoop your belly up to your heart as you reach your heart forward. Feel your back muscles turn on so that your chest can open. Then place your hands next to your side ribs and roll up into cobra or upward facing dog. Stretch back into your downward dog. Look in between your hands. Step or walk your feet all the way forward to the front of your mat. As you inhale, come into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms up. Exhale, release your arms down at your side. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back, plank pose. Lower into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Look in between your hands. Step, walk, or hop up to the front. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. This time, press your hands into your shins. Feel your back muscles engage. Scoop up your belly as you reach your heart forward. Then, plant your hands and step back into plank. Feel the back muscles turn on again so the blades come onto the back. Shift forward and lower slowly to elbow height. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward dog. From down dog, step your right foot up by your right thumb. Hug your right outer hip in. Press down into your feet. Inhale, come up into crescent. Drop your arms down at your side. Lean your chest out over your knee. Hover here for a moment. Reach straight down through the center of that right heel. Now as you pull your right thigh bone back, set your left hand down and twist. Take your arm up. Bring your hand back down and step back into downward dog. Step your left foot up by your left thumb. Press down through your heel, lift up from your belly and come up into crescent. Bring your arms down at your side, lean your chest out over your knee. Set your right hand down and twist. Take your left arm up. Bring your hand down and step back, downward dog, or take a vinyasa. Look in between your hands, step or float up to the front of your mat. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, chair pose, bend knees, sit back, Utkatasana. Stand and release your arms at your side. Inhale into chair pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back and lower, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, down dog. Step your right foot, warrior one. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Step your left foot, warrior one. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. From downward dog, step your right foot up by your right thumb. Turn your back heel flat onto the mat and come up into warrior two. Then bring forearm to thigh or hand onto the outside of the foot on the block. Take your left arm all the way over your ear. Inhale, come back up into warrior two. Bring your hands back down. Step back into downward dog or take a vinyasa. Step your left foot up. Turn your back heel down and come up into warrior two. Then bring forearm to thigh or hand onto the outside of the foot. Take your arm all the way over. Inhale, come back up into warrior two. Exhale, bring your hands back down, step back into down dog, or take a vinyasa. Step your right foot for warrior two. Inhale, come up. Straighten your right leg and reach out into triangle pose. Bend your knee, slide your hand and foot in front of your pinky toe, and step up to balance. Firm your right outer hip towards your back heel, press through the back heel, and find your mountain pose line from your back ankle out through your spine to your crown. Then as you firm the hip in, open up across the chest, front of the pelvis. Bend your knee and slide back into triangle pose. Press into your feet, come up to stand. Bend your right leg, put your hand down onto the inside of your foot, take your left arm up. Then slide your hand behind your back, roll your shoulder, chest open. Take the arm back up, then bring your left hand down onto the floor. With your hands flat, both arms on the inside of the leg. From here we're going to go into Ekapada Bakasana preparation. So as you pull up in your middle and push into your hands and start to pull up like you're doing cat-cow, slide your foot back, point the toe back, and pull the knee up higher. And then stretch back into down dog. Step your left foot for warrior two. Inhale, come up. Straighten your leg and reach out into triangle pose. Bend your knee, slide your hand and foot in front of your foot, and keep your hip on a track with your ankle as you raise your back leg up. Engage the left outer hip again. Push through your heel, your back heel, and feel your spine line up with your back heel. Bend your left leg and slide back into triangle pose. Press into your feet and come up to stand. Then bend your leg, put your hand down onto the inside of your foot. Wrap your right arm behind your back. Just check to make sure that your left leg is still on a track, your center ankle, knee, and hip. Then take your arm back up. Bring your hands down onto the inside of the foot. Plant the hands flat. Scoop up in your belly, pull up like you're doing cat-cow. Then pull your left knee up by your armpit, point the toe back, and push down as you pull up. And stretch the leg back, downward facing dog. Look in between your hands, step or float up to the front of your mat. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Squat down into Malasana. Then hook your legs way up high into your triceps. Shins up by the armpit. Put your hands down. And then as you start to scoot from your belly, lift up into crow pose. Then if you'd like, you can practice one-legged crow, pulling up, unhook one knee. See if you can stretch the leg back, and then glide back into down dog. We'll try it on the other side. Squat down for crow. Hook the arms again. Practice regular crow, or see if you can unhook your knee. Reach it back. And stretch back into down dog. Then from down dog, roll into the outside edge of your left foot and take your right arm up. Side plank, Vashisthasana. Change sides. Back into downward dog. Step your right foot for crescent. Inhale the arms up. Bring your hands to prayer. Lean your chest out over your knee and twist. Take your left elbow to your knee. Then put your right hand on your hip, slide your hand and foot in front of your foot on the inside and raise your back leg up. Lengthen through the midline, spin your belly, ribs, chest, and take your arm up. Bend your right knee, slide your left leg back, come back up into crescent. Hands down. Step back into downward dog or take a vinyasa. Step your left foot up. Inhale into crescent, raise your arms up. Bring hands to prayer, lean your chest out, and twist. Then bring your hand to your hip. Slide your right hand a foot in front of your foot on the inside. Raise your back leg up. And twist, take your arm up. Bend your knee. Step back into crescent. Reach up. Bring your hands down and step back into downward dog or take a vinyasa. Look in between your hands, step, walk, or hop up to the front. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms. Exhale, Samasthiti. Step your left foot back about 3.5 feet. Roll your shoulders back, open up your chest. Then with your arms out at your side like jet airplane wings, start to lean out over your leg. Then soften your navel to your spine and lengthen all the way out over your right leg. Now lift your back heel up and start to walk your hands a foot in front of your foot. And as you raise the back leg up to hip height, feel the stretch in your right outer hip and hamstring. Keep the right outer hip pinned back, then see if you can slide your hands back, scoop up your belly, engage your lats, and then float your arms back and lift your chest up to hip height too. Then without your left foot touching the floor, come up to stand. Bend your right knee, wrap your left leg over, and cross your left arm under. If you can't get the arm to do the double cross, then you could just come into this modified PE stretch. This was a stretch that you did in physical education before you ran the mile, which then they realized in the late 90s, or maybe later in the early 2000s, that it was actually bad for you to stretch before you ran. And then sorry for all the kids that came before that ended up injured. Uncross your arms and your legs. Stand tall in mountain. Change sides. Step your right foot back. Open up your chest, shoulders, and then start to tip out over your left leg. Soften the navel to the spine and lengthen all the way out over your leg. Then inhale up into a flat back. Start to crawl your fingers a foot in front of your foot. Raise the back leg up. Now reach down into that foot. Turn on your core. Slide the arms back and lift the chest up to hip height. Then without your foot touching the floor, come up to stand, bring your knee up. Bend your left knee, cross your leg over, cross the arm under, or do PE stretch. Uncross your arms and your legs, stand tall in mountain. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Bend your knees, sit your buttocks down and come into boat pose. Navasana. Reach down in between your tailbone and your sit bones. And as you scoop up your belly, pull up to the core of your spine and see if you can start to lift your legs up. Then set your heels down, roll your spine down onto the floor, inhale your arms back. Exhale, curl up towards your knees, arms forward, hold your low abs in, and then extend your left leg. Crunch up one more inch. Change legs. Bring that leg into table. Hold your abs in, bring the other leg into table. Then push your buttocks out of your back as you push your right heel forward. Change legs. Change legs. Change legs. Hug your knees in, lower yourself down. Roll up to seated. Cross your legs, plant your hands next to your hips, lift your hips up, scoop up your belly, and lift your feet up too. Set your hips down, come into boat pose. Lower into low boat pose. Come back up into boat. Cross your legs the other way, hands down, hips up, scoop belly, lift feet up too. Set your hips down and stretch back into downward dog. Then set your knees down onto the mat. Set your elbows down too, and we're going to work on down dog on the forearms. With your hands interlocked, bring your shoulders right over your elbows. You press down into your forearms, scoop up your belly without your inner shoulders sinking up into your ears. Curl your toes under, lift your knees up. Now reach from your outer armpits down into your elbows. Lift up from your hips. And see if you can bring your right knee into your chest and pull up without sinking. Change legs. Set that foot down and pull your hips up higher. Then set your knees down and rest in child's pose. Come into a kneeling position. If this is too much on your knees, you can just put your feet in front of you. Then, whichever one you're doing, walk your hands back a foot behind you. Roll your shoulders, chest open, and lift your heart up to the ceiling. And then engage the pelvic floor, lower belly, lift your hips up too. Lower your butt back down. Then lie onto your belly. Bend your knees and reach back with your hands for your feet. Roll your shoulders, chest open, lengthen back through your tail. And then see if you can start to lift the shins and draw the shins back. Reconnect to your breath. Lower yourself down, rest one cheek onto the mat. Rest the other cheek. Place your hands next to your ribs and roll up into upward facing dog. Stretch back into downward dog. Then set your left knee down, step your right foot up by your right hand, and then start to turn your right thigh out. When you can't turn it out anymore, you'll pause there, then start to wiggle your foot over towards your left thumb. And then you'll notice that the leg won't drop all the way down, so you'll slide your heel towards you until the shin rests nicely onto the floor. Now draw your right hip crease back, and then as you scoop up through the front of your pelvis, curl your back toes under. See if you can scoot your back knee back a little further. Still keep drawing the right hip crease back. Maybe a little further. Maybe a little further. Now if you feel at all like you start to sink into your lower back, then you can come up onto blocks or up onto fingertips. Maybe even lower onto your elbows now here. Start to go into the forward variation of the stretch. And just breathe into the sensation in your hip. If this feels like too much on your knee, like you're feeling the stretch in your knee, then that's usually a sign that the stretch is going into your knee, which is not a good thing. You don't want to feel it in your knee. You should feel it in your hip. If you're feeling it in your knee, then just come into the cross-legged forward fold like we often do. Stretch back into downward dog. Then change sides, left foot up by your left thumb, lower your back knee, then let the knee start to turn out to the side. Wiggle the foot over towards your right thumb, let the knee turn out even more, and then slide the heel close enough to you so that the shin lays down. Notice I didn't twist my hips over to get the leg down. Then I curl the back toes, lift the back knee and scoot it back a little. Scoot it back a little more. And then instead of sinking into the stretch, imagine from the center of your pelvic floor, you could draw energy right up through your lumbar, up into your chest so that you can open and spread your heart. Then hold in the upright variation, or you can come onto your elbows. Good, then lift yourself back up, lean over onto your left hip, swing your right leg around, take your legs wide apart for Upavista Konasana. Put your hands in front of you and start to fold forward any amount. Inhale, come back up. Then lie down onto your back for final spinal twist. Open your arms out to the side. Cross your right ankle over your left knee and let your legs fall over to the left. Stretch through your right chest, shoulder, hand. Let the shoulder drop back down towards the floor. Bring your legs back to center, change the cross, and let the legs fall all the way over to the right. Come back to center. Stretch your legs out for Shavasana, corpse pose. So this final meditation, this is a very important part of your practice, perhaps the most important part. As you relax, you'll let all the benefits of the deep breathing, the stretching, the strengthening start to sink in. So allow your body some time to acclimate. Be open, be receptive. Just for the next couple minutes, we'll practice observing the flow of your breath And just noticing the sensation in the body. Feel the rising, expanding quality as you breathe in. The cooling, grounding sensation as you breathe out. Then gently bend your knees and roll over to your right side. Press yourself up to seated. Bring your palms together. Namaste. Thanks so much for joining me today. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss anything, and because it's the most important thing you can do to support Yoga with Tim. That's me. I'm talking about myself in the third person. Also, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of today's video. If you enjoyed the arm balancing, if you'd like to see more, other poses that I don't do and you'd like to see, or questions, comments you have. Lastly, if you enjoyed some of this arm balance stuff, then I'd like to encourage you to check out the arm balance series. I'm going to put a link below. It's also free for all the members of the conscious movement community. So you can purchase the arm balance series, which will help you to develop strength and confidence in all of your arm balances, just by checking out the link below or by signing up for the conscious movement community. I'll put the link below to that as well. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time.